All righty, everybody. Welcome back to Generation X Nation. I had to put up a video real quick about this whole Kenya Moore situation. I did watch her video. I watched a couple other people's opinions on the video, and I want to hit it from a different angle. But first things first, thank you to everybody who has subscribed, who likes, who leaves a comment, who listens to my videos. Please like, subscribe, and share. Continue to do that. I definitely appreciate it. I definitely appreciate it. I don't take anything or any person for granted. All right. And if you leave a comment for me, I will do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. And with that being said, everything I say on this station or this channel is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Again, it's just my opinion. Entertainment purposes only. That's all. I don't have a dog in this fight, as I tell people. So we're going to discuss this Brit and this Kenya thing. I'm not going to go on to what she said on her video. We all know the situation, what happened on the show, which caused Kenya to be suspended and for them to stop filming with Kenya. Now, I appreciate Kenya, one, coming on, telling her side. Two, standing up and say, hey, I apologize for what I did, admitting she was wrong. I appreciate that. I like Kenya, and I think she should be on the show, and I think Bravo went too far by not renewing her contract. Because initially she said she was suspended and she wouldn't be filming the rest of the year, which is cool, but she was still part of the Bravo family. Then they said she's not getting another contract and she has been uninvited to the reunion. And that's where I have a problem at. And that's when my spidey senses start, dingling in my head. Because I'm like, even if, and I'm sure Britt probably is pissed off about all the negative publicity she's getting. So she's probably over there crying to Andy. She don't want to be in the same room with Kenya. She don't want to film with her no more. And I'm like, okay, but even if that's the case, you could have still talked to Kenya through Zoom or something like that, like y'all did through COVID. You didn't have to invite her to the set per se, but she could have been in another room on camera so they wouldn't be in the same spot. It has been done before. So I don't appreciate that. I think that was wrong of Bravo. And I think there's a bigger picture to this, or a bigger reason why they won't bring Kenya back. And here's what I suspect. I started looking at money because everything seems to have a trail that leads to the dollar. Okay, if you do your research, and I didn't do a lot of deep dive into this, but I just schmoogled a few little things on the Housewives' salaries. And I found it very interesting that the Real Housewives of Atlanta had the highest payroll of anybody. Their salaries were higher than all the other franchises, from what I can see. At the peak of the show, I believe Nene was making over 2 million. Candy was close to 2 million. Kenya was about 1.5 million. Portia was somewhere at 1.5 million. I don't know exactly what Cynthia was making. So I said, well, let me look and see what they were making in New Jersey. They was making maybe 600,000 for the season, but it was under 1 million. And even some of the franchises out in California, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Orange County, they was making less. So I'm like, okay, this starting to add up now. Nene's no longer on the show, so that's 2 million plus a year they were saving. Remember, Portia had voluntarily exited the show. Then Candy voluntarily exited the show. And now if I can get rid of Kenya, you know how much money we're saving per year? Because now I got the top salary makers off the show. So I can bring in desperate, thirsty girl who just want to be on the Housewives and pay them half of that or even a third of that. They just want to be on TV. So some of this, to me, it seems like it was also some money moves there. They're saving money by bringing in new people who cannot demand a high salary because they haven't proven themselves yet. That's what I'm seeing. And again, I understand Kenya actions. I understand Britt Edie's actions. I understand it may or may not want her to be on the show. But it's just odd to me that all the women that was on the Housewives making this large salary are now gone. And then Cynthia, who's the last of the bunch, is demoted to a friend of the show. And I'm sure Portia has came back to help the franchise, but probably not at the same salary. And then they bring in Phaedra. And you know they ain't paying Phaedra no million and something dollars, but they just want to be on the show. Portia, of course, we know why, because her king, we found out, was a frog with a fraud. Well, I can call him a fraud frog. Okay, but anyway, Simon wasn't who he turned out to be. So now she needs some money, and I know Dennis is helping out with child support and everything, but we get that. And her businesses ain't booming like they should be because Portia too busy partying and everything. I don't see Portia promoting her businesses as much as I see other people on reality shows that sell products. Okay, so I'm looking at this as, okay, this might be just a financial move. This is a money move. And the reason I say that, and I'm going to finish this up, because if you think back at the Housewives, a person like me who's watched most of the franchises at some point. I didn't watch all the seasons of every franchise, but I remember watching Jersey. I liked Jersey when it first started, but Jersey has had two people go to jail for real, jail for fraud. They got somebody on there now. I haven't watched it, but I heard on the news or whatever, somebody's being charged with fraud. They have had several fights on that show that I've witnessed where the men fought and the women fought. Teresa threw a table. She was known for throwing the tables up. Danielle and had her little scandals going on there. New York had scandals going. They had a girl over there. I think she had an alcohol problem. They had a problem with some colorism or racism on that show. They had a couple of people there got into a little bit of tussles back and forth. Bethany wasn't always the best housewife. She done some crazy stuff. Then you go out to the West Coast, you had the Beverly Hills people, frauds out there. One lady, her husband committed suicide because he was about to go to jail, I don't know, for some fraud stuff. They got some stuff going on right now with somebody out there having some issues with being sued or fraud or some kind of Ponzi scheme going on. And let's not forget Jen Shaw, the Salt Lake City, Jen Shaw from Salt Lake City, the housewives out there. She is in jail currently. And if she gets out of jail and get back on that show, y'all ain't got no reason whatsoever to kick Kenya off this show for one kafufu, okay? Now, we know Kenya done pulled some crazy stunts in the past, but this is probably the worst that she's done. But it's one kafufu. But these people are coming back to the show who has done just as much. Kyle Richards' sister, Kim, that girl was an alcoholic, and y'all fed her liquor all the time. She was a fallout drunk on that show, and y'all had her on there every year, and when she was doing drugs, popping pills or something. And every year you had her on that show to about season 5 or 6, and you finally kick her off. But she still is a returning friend of the show. And y'all know she has stuff going on. So it's not like Housewives haven't had problems. And as far as the stuff being pornography type stuff, revenge P, whatever you want to call it, come on, y'all. We are in 2025. Most of the people at some point, especially in the celebrity field, so many of them have had leaked pictures of them in the nude. The Kardashians have made a whole empire off of stuff like that, and you can go today and find her tape. I've seen everything on Kim Kardashian's body but her liver, to be real with you, and I didn't even want to see it, okay? So don't act like people aren't having these type of episodes where things are getting out or on the internet about them. It happens all the time. Should people expose it? Probably not, but it's not like it's not there. But they have rap music that play more vulgar stuff than what she showed in those pictures. Let's just be honest. I've heard lyrics in a rap song that's probably more vulgar than what that girl was doing in the picture. I think it was an excuse to get rid of the high rollers off of this show, and they can bring in thirsty women who want to be on TV and play them at a lower salary. Therefore, they're saving money. That's just my conspiracy theory. And everything I say is alleged, in my opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. All right? I don't know what the future holds for Kenya. I hope at some point after she sit out a year or two, whatever, they bring her back. But you're not going to replace Kenya with a Portia. You're not going to replace Kenya with a Cynthia. You're not going to replace Kenya with a Phaedra. It's just not going to happen. And these new girls, we don't know them. They came on here too hot, too eager, and too antsy. They should have just laid low, watched how everything flowed, built relationships, and maybe next season they could have turned it up a notch. But they turned it up too fast and they basically turned us off. All right. So I don't know what the Housewives are going to do after this. I don't even know if the show is going to last. But losing Kenya was a big deal to me. And I don't think they'll recover from that. And with that, I'm going to close out again. I hope everybody had a happy Easter. This is Generation X Nation. Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, to share. You guys have a great rest of your day. Peace. I'm out.